Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is TheJackSilkstone. So, it's the video you have all been waiting for, and believe me, it's the video I've been waiting to record for so long now. That's right, for the first time we are going to be discussing everything about Thorpe Park Fright Nights 2020.
Lights, camera, action.
Oh boy, it's good to hear that audio again. I'm so excited to finally be talking about Fright Nights. Leave a thumbs up on this video right now if you are excited for Fright Nights 2020. With everything that's going on in the world at the moment, I think first of all we need to appreciate how insanely lucky we are that we even are getting Halloween events here in the UK. Over in the States, the likes of Universal and Disney have fully just cancelled all of their Halloween events. But here in the UK, it seems like the theme parks and scare events are really pushing forwards to try and get us some kind of Halloween to enjoy this year. And I know for a fact that the team down at Thorpe Park in particular are working insanely hard, probably even as we speak right now, to ensure that they pull off a great Fright Nights event for 2020 despite everything that's going on and all of the problems that are going to be thrown their way. So yeah, just a massive thank you to the team that are ensuring that we still get some kind of a fantastic Fright Nights event for 2020. And just to be crystal clear before I get into anything proper, this is just a speculation video. I'm just playing around with ideas and theories, so don't take everything I say in this video to be complete facts. This is all just speculation, it's just a bit of fun. Nothing official has been announced yet, so just want to be 100% clear with that before we get started. And with all of that out of the way, we can finally get down to business and start talking about Fright Nights 2020. But in order to do that, first we need to look at Alton Towers, because recently we've had a big announcement from them regarding their Halloween event, Scarefest, and they have in fact confirmed that they will be having scare mazes at their event. In fact, they're bringing back some of their classic mazes, the Attic, Autumnville Mine Tours and Darkest Depths. They've also got a new outdoor maze, Freak Show, Toxic Junkyard, so that's really interesting. But ultimately, this announcement from Alton Towers confirmed that Merlin, the company that own the likes of Towers, Thorpe Park, Chessington, are very willing to operate horror mazes in the UK this year. So that is absolutely fantastic news, and that gives us a great place to start when speculating for Fright Nights, because what I'm going to do is take a look at all of the mazes we had last year at Fright Nights and see what mazes could likely be returning for this year's event. So as I'm sure many of you will remember, the horror mazes that we had at Fright Nights 2019 were The Walking Dead Living Nightmare, The Walking Dead Do or Die, Platform 15, Blair Witch, and Creek Freak Massacre. So I'm going to move through these one at a time, starting with The Walking Dead Living Nightmare. And yeah, this is a really easy one to predict, because the building that Living Nightmare previously occupied has since been completely gutted to make way for Black Mirror Labyrinth, which was due to open this year. However, it has since been pushed back later to 2021. So we know for a fact that Living Nightmare will not be returning for this year's Fright Nights. Next up, The Walking Dead Do or Die, a really strong maze in Fright Nights 2019. However, with The Walking Dead Living Nightmare leaving the park, to me suggests that the Walking Dead license for Fright Nights had ended. And once again, this isn't fact. I don't have a clue how long the license agreement was and all that, But just on the grapevine and from what I heard at last year's Fright Nights, it seemed like the general vibe was that the Walking Dead mazes would be ending in 2019 to make way for some new stuff in 2020. Of course, The Walking Dead, the ride, is still at Thorpe Park. It would normally be operating through the season. Obviously, COVID has kind of stopped it this year. However, I believe that's on a different kind of agreement to what the mazes were when they joined the Fright Nights lineup back in 2017. So in my opinion, I can't see The Walking Dead Do or Die returning in the same form that it did last year. We could potentially be seeing a re-theme for that maze, just because it is mainly outdoors. Obviously you go through a few containers, but it is quite an open maze. So I could definitely see them adapting it, perhaps with a different theme to open at this year's Fright Nights, but it's hard to tell at this point. The next maze, Platform 15, I think could be a very strong contender to return to this year's Fright Nights. It is almost entirely out in the open. It kind of runs around the Old Town area of the Thorpe Park Resort. And yeah, for those of you that have done the maze, you're spending about 75% of that maze completely outdoors. The obviously hardest part of that maze to implement social distancing in would be the tunnel, but I feel like if they put their minds to it, the team at Thorpe Park could absolutely design Platform 15 in a way that fits social distancing measures. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it does return that we'd see a slightly adapted story, just because in the past few Fright Nights events, they have just been changing the story of Platform 15 every year just to keep it as fresh as possible. And I'm sure if it does return this year, that we'll probably see the same kind of treatment. Next up, we have Blair Witch. And this is a really, really tricky one, because I can see the maze returning. It's about 95% all outdoors, so it would work perfectly for social distancing and COVID measures. However, yeah, I personally just can't see them bringing back the Blair Witch theme to that maze. Could be completely wrong. I'd say it's kind of the most up in the air maze from last year at the moment. Really, really hard to tell what's going to go on with that maze. And the final maze that was at last year's Fright Nights was, of course, the brand new one, Creek Freak Massacre. What an incredible maze it was. And I've got high hopes that the Creek Freak will return for Fright Night 2020. Although the entire maze is indoors, I think the team will definitely want to bring back Creek Freak because it was such a big success last year and it got so many positive reviews that they will be wanting to bring it back. I think they can absolutely implement social distancing measures within there, and I think if the actors are trained enough, they will absolutely be able to avoid guests and scare guests from certain points that don't necessarily mean they have to get up and close. And of course, a massive part of that maze is chainsaws. And I don't really see an issue with chainsaws being used as scares because it doesn't require the actors to properly get up in your face. They're very loud, they're very scary. So your guests are going to be running as soon as they see a chainsaw. I know I personally do. So yeah, I absolutely think Creek Freak can be adapted to make sure that it does open for this year's Fright Nights. Now, of course, another attraction at Fright Nights 2019 was Containment. Now, this has been an escape room style experience. It's been at the park for a long, long time now. Could we be seeing Containment return in 2020 once again? I don't really know. I think it absolutely can be adapted to be COVID safe. They could completely remove actors from there if they wanted to. They could make it into a proper, just standard escape room where you have to find the clues yourself. Because previously Containment, you've had an actor in each room that you go into that kind of tells you the story and helps you try and escape that particular room. So I think if Thorpe Park do want to open Containment for this year, then they absolutely can. It's just one of those that we will have to wait for an official announcement to see if it's going to go ahead and open. Now, one of the most popular new additions to Fright Nights 2019 was, of course, Terror at Amity High. And this was a scare zone / flash mob style experience that took place in Stealth's Plaza. And it's almost as if Terror at Amity High came to the park a year early, because it literally is the perfect socially distanced Fright Nights experience. It's literally a scare zone, so they're able to interact with guests at a distance, and then you've obviously got the fantastic dance that they did. So yeah, I think with the success that Terror at Amity High had at last year's Fright Nights, they will absolutely be looking to bring it back for Fright Nights 2020. I wouldn't even be surprised if they go bigger and better with it, or somehow adapt the dance that they did. But yeah, I think Terror at Amity High is very, very likely to be returning again for this year's Fright Nights. In fact, one of my personal biggest criticisms for last year's Fright Nights event, it was one of the few criticisms, was the fact that there was a lack of roaming actors just around the general park. And of course, with this year being so different and the park having to plan for social distancing and kind of scares at a distance, I wouldn't be surprised if we did see more of an emphasis on roaming actors, perhaps even more of these flash mob style experiences around other areas of the park. I mean, they could even combine the two, where they have this roaming team that also does flash mob style shows or experiences at one or various points around the park. And for those of you that are big Fright Nights fans, you may even be thinking that what I'm talking about might sound a bit familiar, and that is because that is pretty much exactly what the Big Top Showtime did in 2018. And guys, this is where my big conspiracy hat comes out, because hear me out. This year's Fright Nights, as I've mentioned many times, is going to be so different to previous years. So in terms of the marketing for the event, they're not going to be able to say it's the scariest or biggest or best year of Fright Nights ever, like they normally have in previous years. So how are they going to entice and bring guests in to this year's Fright Nights event? And I mean, in my opinion, what better way to do that than to bring back an iconic name in Fright Nights history, such as the Big Top? Because, you know, Big Top is a brand within Fright Nights. Like, when you hear Fright Nights, one of the first mazes that a lot of the general public will often first think of is Big Top, because it was such an iconic and scary maze. Now, although I am saying all of this, I think if the Thorpe Park Resort are to do this, I don't think this at all means that the Big Top maze will be returning. Instead, I think just like in 2018, the park will almost use the Big Top name to just push the event, and they might bring back something similar to the Big Top Showtime, in which they will have clowns and like ringleaders roaming around the park. And as I said, they might even do something similar to like what they did in 2018 with like a flash mob style show. Obviously they did it in the dome. I don't know if they'll be able to again this year because it's all indoors, but I think there absolutely is potential and reasoning behind bringing back the Big Top brand, because it was missing from last year's Fright Nights. It was a shame to see no clowns. So I definitely think it could be brought back in the form of roaming actors or a scare zone, or yeah, another flash mob style experience in addition to Amity High this year. And of course, there is always the really exciting potential that they could just announce a brand new maze, just like they did with Creek Creek Massacre. Or we could, as I mentioned, absolutely be seeing maze rethemes. At the end of the day, as I've said all along, this video is entirely just speculation. Nothing I've said at all is just pure facts. So we are just going to have to wait for an official announcement from the park before we actually know exactly what is going to be going on with Fright Nights 2020. But, you know, I always love to do these little speculation videos, and I love to hear what you guys are thinking as well. So absolutely, please do comment all of your speculation and theories down in the comments below. I'll be reading through them all and replying to you guys. And as soon as we do start to get physical developments happening at the park, I'll be straight down there filming some construction updates for you guys. They're some of my favorite videos to film, so I cannot wait for some developments to start happening. And yeah, I'll be letting you guys know all of the Fright Nights news as soon as it happens. So be sure to subscribe to the channel to be notified when all of those videos get released. And yeah, otherwise, as I said, leave a thumbs up on this video if you are as excited for Fright Nights as I am. I genuinely cannot wait. I mean, this time last year, we were already filming construction updates. I'm pretty sure we had some form of maze announcement. So yeah, we're a bit delayed this year, completely understandable, of course. And yeah, I cannot wait to see what the team at Thorpe Park announce for this year's Fright Nights event. And yeah, otherwise, thank you all very much for watching this video. My name is Jack Silkstone. Goodbye.
Dripped out, now I'm vibing. Link with the boys, jump straight to the island. Silkstone flex on a wave like tidal. Style so crazy, I hit it in a silence.